Resume recording. Okay, excellent. Let me just see who just came on. Oh, Kathleen is here. Great. Good morning, Kathleen. So, good morning, everybody. Jennifer Marr, Chairwoman of the Putnam County Business Council. And we are here this morning with the Putnam County Economic Development Corporation President, Kathleen Abels, who wanted to make sure we got this important information out to you today. And she has invited a panel. We have Carol O'Connell from Pursuit. She's the AVP of Pursuit, which I just found out means Assistant Vice President. And we have Huey-Min, Chuang, who's the Senior Director of Empire State Development. And they want to update us on the New York Forward Loan Fund. So good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
By the way, can you see my screen? I'm trying to enlarge it, but not yet able to see if that was successful. I don't think it has been enlarged, correct? The screen?
But it's very visible. It's not a full screen, but it's very visible.
Okay, but I would like to make it a full
No,
screen.
it's, yeah.
So hold on.
I think you got to go to the top right where those boxes are. See what, top right next to the X.
Yep, and then click on hide video panel. Nope. Usually I see the whole entire thing when I actually do say from beginning, but I'm not sure.
But if you
Actually,
click the boxes at the top right next to the X, I think that'll bring you to full screen.
Oh, okay, here you go. Is that it?
No.
Let's see. Here you go. Here you go, right? You can see it?
Yes, there we go.
All right. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning to learn about the New York Forward Loan Fund program. And thank you, Jennifer, for organizing it, as well as the Putnam County government executives for organizing this, as well as Pursuit, who is one of the CDFIs for the program. And thank you so much for welcoming us back again to actually share some information and updates about the New York Forward Loan Fund and the specific details about how you can access this very important source of capital for your business, particularly during this time where there are many businesses that still need the financial resources to move forward. So what exactly is the New York Forward Loan Fund program? It is the new economic recovery program aimed at supporting New York State small businesses, nonprofits, and small residential landlords as they reopen after COVID-19 outbreak and after having New York State on pause for a few months. So it targets the state small businesses with 20 or fewer employees. Now, more than 90% of all businesses in Putnam County are small businesses, as well as nonprofits and small residential landlords that have seen a loss of income. These are our targeted groups, and we welcome them to apply for the program to access working capital loans for up to $100,000. And they can use these funds pretty flexibly to actually support expenses for PPEs, for inventory acquisition, marketing, retrofitting for the winter that is coming, for some of the businesses that may apply, as well as for any strategic plans that they may have to actually be able to implement, and a second to actually put into execution for their business to grow as well as to thrive post our couple months that we have had so far. So these are loans that are available for access for those small businesses, landlords, small residential landlords and nonprofits that did not receive an IEDL loan from the SBA or have received less than $50,000 from the Paycheck Protection Program. So let me repeat, if you receive Paycheck Protection Program funds that was less than $50,000 and you did not apply for an IEDL loan fund, you're eligible at this time for this program. When the program got launched in the beginning, you were not eligible if you received any amount from PPP, but currently you are eligible if you have received less than $50,000. And if you only received an IEDL grant fund, which was forgiven from the very beginning, since it's a grant fund for the application for IEDL under $10,000, you're eligible for the program as well. But if you need more information, please visit our program website, which I'll go through in the next few pages. Now, for those who actually are eligible for the program, just know that we also are targeting self-declared minority women businesses for the funds. 60% of all funds available for the program are targeted to minority women-owned businesses. So please look into the program and apply as soon as you can. where can you find information about where you can apply as well as what the pre-application form looks like? Please visit www.nyloanfund.com. Once again, www.nyloanfund.com is where you can find the pre-application and additional information for your benefit. So when you get to the page, you see a page looking like this on the right-hand side of this slide. You will have a bar at the top that talks about overview of the program, the terms of the loan, the business requirements for application, the FAQs, and also lastly, ready to apply, please click on play application button here. Or if you like, you can peruse through this page and hit this red button down here below for apply here as well. So what happens after you apply? You get to a 15 question Q&A, yes or no, easy to fill in blanks that we're gonna walk you through at the end of this presentation, where Carol is going to tell you what the question asks and what kind of answer are the right answer for the questions. So don't worry, it's not difficult to complete, and you'll be able to be on your way to access funding and to be matched to one of the lenders described here below. So there are 5 participating community development financial institution lenders that are currently participating in the program. At the end of the 15 questions, you hit please match me, and basically you'll be matched with one of these 5 lenders, or you may yield more than one lender for you to choose. It's very important to know if you do have more than one as a yielded result, you must choose one in order for you to be matched to a lender. So who are the 5 community development financial institutions lenders that are participating in the program? For small businesses, the likelihood of you being matched with one of these 4 lenders is what would happen basically. So it's going to be Axion East, National Development Council Impact Loan Fund, Pursuit, or True Fund Financial Services as your options. If you're a nonprofit, you'll be matched with National Development Council Impact Loan Fund or True Fund Financial Services. Lastly, if you're an eligible small residential landlord, you'll be able to be matched to Community Preservation Corporation. Now I'm going to walk you through eligibility documentation, who can qualify for the small business applicant. So the New York Forward Loan Fund, like I said before, it allows eligibility for a small business to tap into up to $100,000 of working capital for 5 years. So for the small businesses, the maximum that you can apply for, it's up to 100, but it will be a calculation of either the lesser of that $100,000 or up to 100% of the average monthly revenues for a 3-month period prior to the COVID outbreak. So that means you can take your 2019 total revenues divided by 12 times 3. So that will give you the maximum that your business can qualify for an exact calculation for this purpose. If you are a seasonal business, which you run maybe a ski lodge or some sort of a winter business that is your best season, if you want to use that season as your number to base it off, you can do that for the first quarter 2020 instead of using 2019 numbers. The interest rate for this program for small business is capped at 3%, uniform throughout all the 5 lenders that are offering this product. The repayment terms are for 5 years, with the first 12 months interest only, and the last 4 of interest and principal repayment equally paid monthly. The use of proceeds, it's very flexible, is for working capital. So this particular program is not only geared towards paying your employees, but also for any other typical recurring use for your operating business that is justifiable. And you'll be required to explain exactly what you need the money for when you actually apply in the statement. Like I said before, you could definitely think about new ways to run your business if you need to launch a business virtually or increase your presence online, or be able to have takeout delivery that you may not have emphasized in the past. But as a restaurant, for example, you can definitely use the funds for retrofitting of your business, for winterization, for keeping social distancing, and also even coming up with new ways to run your business if that's what you need to do right now to be able to maintain your business operations. The loan applicant cannot use the fund to refinance any existing loans. So just think about future uses that you have, as well as things that you may need, or even having an emergency fund that you can keep for the winter months in case there are some emergency that you may need direct deployment of funds. There are no application fees, no collateral is required, and the borrower can prepay this loan at any time without penalty. So who exactly is a small business that qualifies? So you must be, like I said, having a full-time equivalent employee of fewer than 20 employees. How do you calculate a full-time equivalent? Basically, think about a 40-hour schedule week. So if you have a few part-timers, just add up to 40 hours a week. That is an equivalent of one full-time employee. So 20 or fewer full-time equivalent employee is what we're looking for. We want to serve the small businesses that are having a hard time. Also, you must have a gross revenue of less than 3 million in fiscal year 2019. And you must not have received, like I said, a PPP of actually greater than 50,000 or apply for an IEDL loan with the SBA. You demonstrate that you have suffered direct economic hardship during COVID. And also you have to be in business for at least 1 year since the date of loan application and be headquartered in New York State. Anyone who own more than 20% of the business will have to attest and sign off on the application and provide individual documentation. Who is not eligible for this program? If you own a corporate franchise, you're not eligible. If you run a nonprofit social club, you're not eligible, as well as branch banks, payday loan stores, pawn shops, astrology, palm reading, liquor stores, nightclubs, adult bookstores, massage parlors, strip clubs, track wagering facilities, trailer storage yards, and marijuana dispensaries. So those are the businesses that are eligible for the program. Right now, I want to go through a very important slide, the most important probably of them all once you do apply. So when you apply, you need to just fill in those 15 questions. Once you fill the 15 questions, you'll be asked to upload documentation from the lender that you get matched to. So I'm going to welcome Carol to talk to us about the small business documentation, as Carol is the one of the CDFIs that actually do evaluate and collect these documentation and underwrites a loan. And she's with Pursuit. So Carol, could I have you talk about the importance of the documentation to be provided for the program to be eligible as well as to be underwritten?
Sure. It's very, very simple. Lenders are trying to make the process as painless as possible. At this stage of the year, the lenders are requiring your 2018 and 2019 personal and business tax returns. So business tax returns of the business, personal tax returns of any owner of 20% or more. So everyone should have filed their 2019 tax returns, have them in an electronic format. We see some people struggling with that. We need the entire federal return with schedules. Certain lenders, Pursuit in one of them, we're also asking for you to provide us with some internally prepared profit and loss statement for year-to-date 2020. And it's regardless of whether you're earning money or losing money. We understand that 2020 is a difficult year. We just need evidence that you are still open and that you have not closed your doors. So that is the financial requirement. There'll be questions on ownership. Be very clear. Be well aware of who owns 20% or more, and provide all of that information. Ultimately, you'll be required, if you get to the approval point, signing an attestation form. The narrative questions that have a narrative, and that is, what has been the impact of COVID? So this program, the state is looking to provide relief for businesses that were viable up until COVID. So we're looking 2019 tax returns. We want to see a company that has been cash flow positive, managing on their own. So in your narrative, you're explaining how revenues are down or expenses are down. We don't need numbers and data, but you can explain how you've had to change your business. Legal entity, we recommend that this is a good time to make sure that you're filed properly with New York State. I'll put in the chat the site where you can find out and make sure you are legal entities. We are going to be checking that you're registered with New York State to do business. And then personal credit report, lenders will be pulling that on their own. I highly recommend that you go into whatever site you're used to and knowing what your credit score is, and then also pulling a full credit report. Make sure you're not delinquent on any payments that maybe you didn't even know about, because that's what the lender will be looking for. So pull it on your own. The lenders will also run a report on their own. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for that enlightenment about documentation and about what works. So now I'm going to walk you through the small residential landlords who can apply for the program. So for small residential landlords, it's also up to $100,000, the maximum they can apply for a 5-year term loan. And basically, if you are going to calculate what your maximum individually of what your business could apply for as a small residential landlord, you're looking at your projected reduction in your 6-month net operating income based on actual losses for the income that you did not receive in April or May of this year. So what does this mean? If you typically are a landlord that collect $100,000 in the month of April, and somehow you only receive half of it, so $50,000 in the month of April, you could take that number times 6 months, which yields $300,000, which is a lot larger than the $100,000 cap for the program. So you maxed out at $100,000 in this specific example. But if your rental income for the month of April is much smaller, like let's say $1,000 you received, and typically you receive $2,000, then you lost $1,000. You can times 6, that's $6,000, which is much less than $100,000. So you maxed out at $6,000 for that example. Now, for small landlords, it's the same as for small businesses. The interest rate is 3%, and the loan is for 5 years. The first 12 months is interest only, and the last 4 is equal principal and interest repayment. So this is where I like to highlight the 12 months interest only period for all these loans for any of the application eligible candidates. Basically, if you're thinking about getting this money for cash flow for receivables or payables that you have right now, that you are trying to tie you through the next few months, this will be a great program for that purpose. So in case you do need the money to just use for cash flow purposes, use that. And after you collect or get paid, or you actually able to make the money back in the next 12 months, you can repay the loan without penalties. The use of proceeds is similar to small businesses. It will be typical recurring expenses for an operating small residential landlord. So if you can justify it as something that happens in your typical course of business, then you can it can be used for this program. So refinancing is not allowed, and you will be requested to detail the use of funds. Same, no application fee, no collateral is required, and the borrower can prepay, like I said, at any time. So who is the small business residential landlord? Basically, a small residential landlord owns fewer than 200 units under their ownership with no single property that have 50 units or greater to be eligible. You must be located in a low or moderate income census tract and meet a rent test where property rents are actually affordable to the tenants of low and moderate income individuals. The property must have a positive cash flow for 12 months periods prior to the New York forward loan request. This means that we just want to see that your business, like Carol said, was viable prior to COVID-19 and that you were able to sustain a positive cash flow as a landlord for your operations. So the property must have an active forbearance agreement in place for the mortgage payment or proof that they have not missed a debt payment prior to application in the last 12 months. And also, if that's applicable, if they don't have any mortgage left, that they actually own the property outright and they don't have any active mortgage. And the property must be current on the property tax payment through March 2020. And we also require that the property owner attest to not evicting COVID-impacted non-paying tenants if they take this loan. And we expect that the properties are in good repair with no life or safety violations in place. And lastly, just want to say that for any of these recipients of the loan, the small landlord would also attest to keeping the actual rules and regulation and policy related to social distancing with the building, and basically that they have been operating legally in New York for at least 1 year, and all properties are located in the state of New York. Anyone who own more than 20% of the residential holdings will have to attest and provide information to the program. So what documentations are needed? Similarly to the small businesses, we require your financial tax returns, an expense and income statement, income and expense statements from 2019, the property rent roll collection showing the impact of what happened in the month of April and May, a schedule of ownership, We also wanted an attestation form, like I said, that we provided by the lender for you to sign off, and a letter specifying how COVID-19 impacted on your job and revenue. We're looking for statements individually provided by you, and basically the evidence of forbearance agreement in place for your mortgage payment, and legal formation status with the state of New York. And lastly, if you have your credit report, you could share it. Otherwise, the lender may pull it if you are applying for the program with a certain amount in place. And lender will be the person who is going to actually reach out to you as well as work with you to make sure that all the documents are complete, and ask you for any explanation if there are any questions. Nonprofit. So nonprofit is an essential component of our community, and for the health of our community, for all the services that they provide. We also have a program product for them. So New York Forward Loan Fund also support nonprofits with an application for working capital for loans of up to $100,000 for 5-year terms. The way you calculate the maximum that a nonprofit can apply for is you take their total budget divided by 12 times 3 months for fiscal year 2019. That yields the maximum amount that a nonprofit can apply. So if you have $120,000 total budget for 2019, you divide that by 12, that yields $10,000 times 3. That's $30,000 that you can apply maximum for this program. For nonprofits, the interest rate is more favorable. It's a 2% cap for 5 years. The loans is also 12 months interest only for the first 12 months, and equal payments of interest and principal for the last 4 years. The use of proceeds for nonprofits is also very flexible for working capital needs of that nonprofit. Refinance is not permitted, and we also require the anticipated use of funds to be stated when the application is submitted. There is no application fee, no collateral required, and the borrower can prepay it at any time. Now, for nonprofits, we require that they be a 501c3 entity or a faith-based organization. However, none of the funds received for a nonprofit can be used directly for support of delivery of direct religious worship activities or related to worship-related type of uses. So you could employ 20 if you want a full-time equivalent employee to be qualified, have a budget of under $3 million, and have not received a PPP over $50,000 or IED loan. You must have suffered economic hardship, being business as a nonprofit for at least 1 year as the date of application, and be located in the state of New York. This application should be filled out by a member of the nonprofit executive team, and the member will be required to provide an attestation form to the information provided. The information and documentation to support your request will be in the form of copies of the most recent audited financial statements, or if you don't have it available, the most recent review financial statements, the IRS Form 990, your legal formation papers such as articles of incorporations or bylaws, attestation forms, information about the nonprofit executive team member, their IDs, copies, and as well as their personal information. We also would need a nonprofit board approval and resolution to undertake this loan as part of the process. And we would like you to describe the impact of COVID-19 that have had on your operation as a nonprofit. So the lender will definitely reach out to you and work with you with the application information, documentation, and conduct any credit checks. Actually, for nonprofit, there's no credit check to be checked for nonprofit for this process. So work with the lender, and they'll be able to take you to the end with the funding. Now we're going to walk you through the 15 questions that I asked when you go on to www.nyloanfund.com, and I will have Carol walk you through that. Carol?
Yeah, thank you. So first slide. When you arrive at the nyloanfund.com page and click apply, this is your first screen. So the left side of this slide shows what the screen you'll see. On the right-hand side are some notes that I'm going to go over. So it'll ask you, first question is going to be, how much do you want to borrow? As we described, if you're a small business owner, for the small business owner and for the nonprofits, take your tax return, best thing, your 2019 tax return. Line number 1 is your revenue, divide it by 12 and multiply it by 3. up to $100,000 is the max. For the nonprofits, for the residential landlord, it's actually 6 months of the projected income that you are missing. Important that the lender's going to do that calculation anyway, but you should be knowledgeable. You should know about how much you're looking to get out of this loan. Slide number 2, how do you plan to use your loan? Please ignore all of the other purposes. Just select working capital. It's the broadest, and that is the one that's you need to select that in order to get matched with the lender. Slide 3, when do you need financing by? Right now, there still is funding left in this program, but we really recommend that you don't delay. So you could select today in the next 2 weeks, because you want to move quickly and get your name in to the lenders. The processing time varies in terms of our ability to work on that, but you really want to get this done as quickly as possible.
Wouldn't you say that most of the delays on getting the funding is really getting the documentation to be satisfied in terms of being completed?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. From the time that you apply, and we gather the documentation, it does take a week or so. Right now, there's ample funding left, but do this as quickly as possible to get in the queue. This screen is just simply very much asking very specifically, what is the legal name of your business? If you're a sole proprietor, you're putting in your individual name. If you have a DBA, you can add that. If not, make sure to use your legal name. Business type is the tax return you filed. Are you a sole proprietor, an LLC, a partnership, or an S or a C Corp? The industry, there's a wide selection of industries. Pick the one that best fits your industry, or there is a selection for other. But very importantly, if you are a small residential landlord, pick landlord and not real estate. If you have a real estate brokerage or a management company, you can select real estate. And then also time in business. Obviously, you have to be in business at least 1 year, but select the appropriate choice. Simply your business address. If you are home-based business, put in your residential address. And for small landlords, you obviously you're going to pick the buildings in which you're operating.
Yeah, if you actually are a small residential landlord and you own several buildings, make sure to put in an address that is that you own in the state of New York.
Great.
Very clearly, your name, phone number, and email, and please be very accurate on an email. If there are errors, we won't be able to reach out to you.
And then also monitor your junk box or other basically places where you may be checking email. Make sure that it's an email that you typically check on a regular basis.
Great.
Revenues from last year. Oh, Jen, did you have a question?
No, we do have a couple of questions, but go ahead. I've been not wanting to interrupt you guys. It's so much information. So, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah. We'll pause after the screens. Right. Revenue from last year. So the best thing I advise is have your 2019 business tax return in front of you. Your revenue is line 1 on almost any form, including a Schedule C. So it's revenue top line. You're going to just select the appropriate range.
And for the nonprofits, please just take your budget and then see what the number says on the top line.
Earn profit last year. Profit, we mean net income. That is usually you'll find on line 21 or 22 or 23 of your tax return. That's revenues minus all reported expenses. Question is yes or no. And then the next screen, we will ask you specifically to type in that number. Again, lenders are looking for businesses that are profitable per se. and more viable. There's some, if you have a negative number, but it's for reasons of certain items being non-cash, you just go ahead and apply. We will do the analysis of your tax return to see if in fact you're cash flow positive. Number of full-time employees, as Huey-Min had explained once before. If you have a number of part-time employees, you add up their hours. And if they add up to 40 hours weekly, that is another full-time equivalent employee. For residential landlords, in this space, important, include the number of units rather than employees. And we have a question on bankruptcy. You answer it accurately. This has to do with business or personal bankruptcy. Does not disqualify you, but it affects the lender that will actually look at your file.
That's great.
Screen on collateral. Here, we're just giving you an opportunity to talk about, this is for the business, not personal. And if any of these things apply, if your business has any of these, check the box. If it does not, that's fine. You could check none. It's not a requirement that you have collateral. Revenue for this year referring to 2020. You're taking an estimate. Don't get hung up on this. We're just basically looking to see about the impact. This is one way to convey impact. So if in 2019 you said you had earned 100,000, now you were impacted, you're going to be earning less than 100,000. It's just an indication of how seriously you were impacted by COVID. These several slides are just questions or just an opportunity to tell us a little bit more about the business and maybe how we can help you moving forward. Do you have a business plan? Yes or no? There's a lot of resources Huey-Min will go over. So if you don't, you'll be able to access help getting business plans. Even for an existing business, it's always important. Now we know how important it is because you should have a contingency plan. An important, very important question, as we mentioned, New York State is really trying to target helping certain groups, certainly getting funds out to women, minorities, 60% or more fund usage. So the answer here is yes or no. Think about every owner of 20% or more and answer yes if even one of those owners. This statement applies. And the same thing then with the next screen. Gives you the ability to check any and all boxes that apply to any owner of 20% or more. This is important information for the state to make sure it's helping the right people. We want to give access fairly to all small business owners. Okay, personal credit score. I referenced it once before. The lenders will be pulling their own credit report. You do not need to provide it to us, but I highly recommend that you have it in front of you. If nothing else, you can get a FICO score. You'll probably see it all the time from your credit card company. They'll give you a number. You can use that number to pick the range here. Better yet is if you use a free resource such as Credit Karma, they can give you a personal credit score. But it's important to be your best estimate because different lenders are working with different groups and have the ability to process those more easily.
Sorry, I was going to say, is there a cutoff of credit score that you have seen?
Sure. So you could see below 580. I've spoken about this before and happy to answer some questions. The lenders that you see for this program are community-based lenders. So we understand the struggles of entrepreneurs. We work with business owners who have credit scores in the 600s, which are really fair, poor, fair, and good. Credit scores below 600 are going to be extremely difficult. for the lenders in this program to help. My recommendation is before you apply, go to Credit Karma and work with getting your credit score at least above 600. So each lender will make its own decision. But if you go through this process and are not matched with the lender because your score is below 580, that is the reason. Okay, so finally, after going through all those screens, you'll press submit, and based on your responses, you will be given the listing of those lenders that will be able to take you to the next step. The next step is really that application where you're going to give us financials and all. In this case, it's the three lenders appear here. We are all administering the same exact program, so the loan is identical. We are handling applications in an extremely similar way, so feel comfortable applying for any one of those, but you must press the connect button. If you connect with Pursuit, I'd be glad to walk you through, but that is the most important step in the process, to press the connect button. And after you do so, you will get a confirmation screen, and you'll see down below which lender you've been matched with. The process then is that you will receive an email and hopefully a phone call from the lender. In this case, it's Axion. So please watch your spam filter. We're all set up to do an automatic response to the first message we're sending out to you is an automatic one, and that oftentimes can go into your junk or spam mail. So be on the lookout to hear from Axion or True Fund or certainly Pursuit. And we do follow up with phone calls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shall we pause here? Maybe we should pause here for questions.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
You guys have so much information. I don't know how you keep track of it all. I guess the screens help, but it's a lot. So one question that came in is someone's asking, is this money that we're talking about today, this is from the previous round of relief money? I guess that.
Previous round. Okay, let me just clarify that then. Basically, this is a program run through the New York State. Basically, it's not a federal program. So this is the only program that has the New York Forward Loan name on it. So I don't know about the previous relief money that the person who was asking about. They may be talking about the federal programs, but this is not a federal program. This is a state-run program and it's separate. So as long as you did not receive more than $50,000 of PPP or have access an IEDL loan fund, you are eligible to apply.
Okay, great. And then another,
But
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, but importantly, the reason we're really going out there and getting the message out is when New York State came out with this relief loan, initially they said if you received any kind of federal relief, you were not eligible for New York State. Now, the big change has been if you received 50,000 of PPP, you still can apply for this. So if you didn't think you qualified, you still could at this point.
Okay. And then another question, there's nothing in this program for commercial landlords?
No, unfortunately.
Okay. Is that something, do we think that would happen, or is that going to be on a federal level perhaps?
I don't know. I cannot speak to the federal programs, but for this specific state program, currently the funding is available for small residential landlords.
Got you. One other question, if you own a business and you own under 200 units of residential and you received PPP or EIDL under the business, not for the small residential, would you be eligible for a loan?
Are there two separate legal entities?
Is that what the quantity, you would have to have two separate tax returns?
You have to have two separate entities. You cannot receive funding for the same entity, like tax returns or like any financial to base it off.
Okay.
So if you hold all these residential units and you count that as your business, then that would be the one application, which is all just residential properties.
Okay, great. And so just to sum it up, it's businesses small residential landlords and not-for-profits, correct?
Correct. You have to have individual, separate, and distinct legal entities.
Okay, like I said, we really are pushing this out through Facebook Live and through our replay, so there will be more questions for you guys. And I think one of my takeaways, and I know you're going to continue, but one of my takeaways I want to, for the Business Council, because I think you guys said, tell me if I'm wrong, that there's a low amount of applicants in Putnam County.
Totally true. Yes, we do. We did receive fewer applications from this specific county when compared to all the other counties in the Hudson Valley region. So basically, in Mid Hudson region, basically. So we really would like to welcome the opportunity to serve the Putnam County businesses.
Yeah.
So yes, do spread it as wide as you can for those who may need it. This is actually a very decent interest rate for a loan in this particular time that we are in, and some banks are unable to serve some small businesses as well as nonprofits and residential landlords. So we will encourage you to spread the news as wide as you can to people you can see on the streets when you walk and shop, or places where you visit on weekends, where commute services and they are struggling for funds or waiting longer than usual for getting the funds that they need. This would be a great program for that.
Okay, great. So I will work with you guys and my communication director, Lisa Caslin, to create like a small digital ad to catch people's eyes, to try to get this information in front of them so they don't have to watch an entire webinar and get your information out there.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, because ultimately we just encourage people. There's no harm. If you go to the website, it's 15 very simple questions.
Yep.
You'll know right away whether you're qualified or not. If you don't match, that just generally means that you're not.
Excellent. And I know, a lot of businesses are hurting. And then sometimes these little things, not little things, but when you're running a business and you've got skeleton crews and all that stuff going on, applying for things seems almost insurmountable. So I'm glad to know that it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, actually, just to emphasize that point, even if you've made it so far and been able to pivot the business, you have the winter coming. So these funds can be used as a cushion of what if. Pursuit is telling its clients that this is the lowest cost funds that are available. The federal program was also at 3%. This is meant to get you through this terrible time. If we come out the other side and you didn't need that funding, you return it. There's no cost to returning that money, but there would be a big cost if you didn't have a cash cushion, because it's extremely difficult to get normal working capital financing at this point. Small business owners are seeing that right now and talking about it. It's a very stressful time.
Yeah, and I was going to just add to that. I was going to say that if you're applying for funding in general and you're going online for any online lenders, you will have to worry about whether they're legit or not, as well as like people offering the services directly to you, whether you are actually sharing information to the legitimate resources, as well as places where you can actually tap into the capital. So this is like a state-run program and it's totally legit, obviously, and we would like to welcome you to consider as part of your day-to-day operation as the support fund. So I'm going to just, if it's okay, I would like to just go through a couple of notes and additional resources in case this was not all that you needed, so you can actually tap into it to help your business thrive. So if you don't mind, can I just finish the last few slides?
Absolutely. And then we'll try to end. Thanks.
Okay, great. So, so just want to share some special notes about the program. So all decisions about credit, based on what we talked about so far, relies on the underwriter who actually is the lender match to your application. So please, whatever explanations and support that you need from the lender, just explain to them and work with them to make sure that your file is complete when you apply, and they'll be able to answer your questions directly. And like I said before, if you would like to continue the application once you get connected and matched to Pursuit, Carol obviously is here to help you, and she'll be happy to walk you through the end of the program and also work with you about the credit decision that may happen on your application. So we do expect that we're going to get people applying, but in Putnam County, we're like a lot more people to apply. And so funding is still available, but at some point it will be limited. So apply as soon as you know you need it. And as well as once you say you need it, please start gathering the documentation so you can get to the end of funded as soon as possible. We also recommend highly that you just only submit one application, because if you submit more than one application, all secondary, tertiary application that are found will be eliminated from the system. We are going to work with you with the first application you submitted. Once you get to the end of the program, and let's say you get rejected for some reason, you are able to reapply to another different match lender if you like. But like Carol said, every lender is offering the same product, and a lot of the underwriting will be similar. So if you get rejected, it's possible you may have to seek other additional resources, which I'll provide also on my next slide. So for people who are applying for the program, you're wondering how much exactly am I on the hook to pay back within the first 12 months, and how much would that be looking like in the second year? So if you apply to the program and you ask for $50,000, let me just take this example. You'll be looking for a payment of $125 of interest only on a monthly basis for the first year as a small business or a small residential landlord that is eligible. And you'll be looking to pay back $1,106.72 every month for the year 2 through 5. And for nonprofit, it's slightly lower. So if you apply for $50,000 as a nonprofit, you're looking to pay $83.33 on every month interest only for the first 12 months. And then the second year to the fifth year is $1,084.76. This chart is also available for you to peruse at the website when you go to the www.nyloanfund.com. You can check FAQ, and there'll be a question about how much will my monthly payment look like. So you can take a look and see and feel comfortable with what you're requesting for repayments. Lastly, for everyone who's viewing this deck, and anyone that you may know who may need help for their businesses at this point, we recommend highly for you to check out these available free resources. So if you would like to talk to an individual business counselor about any issue that you may have related to the operation of your business, your strategic plans, maybe even compiling a future business plan for these times that we are going through, or even developing new product or new services, please work with one of these small business development centers, which you can find a list here at nysbdc.org. There are several. There are over 23 networked centers around the state that you can tap into based on your location or your desired location of places where you like to work with. Every one of the centers are equipped with virtual counseling right now, so you can schedule a call or a service which is free to you, and basically speak to someone with expertise that you can tap into. Now, you can also work with one of the entrepreneurship assistance centers throughout the state, which you can find a location by clicking on this link as well, which they can also help you with direct assistance one-on-one, access to capital, certification for the state MWBE programs, including trying to figure out contracting opportunity with the state if you like to grow your business in addition to getting capital. They can also provide a 60-hour workshop training, which is a series of classes for you if you are a small business that has only been in operation for a year or two, and you'd like to get additional knowledge on how to run a business in your state to grow it. This would be a great program for you to also look into. And once you do that and you find that you need additional capital beyond the New York Forward Loan Fund, you need either much larger capital, or you're a much smaller business, you need a micro loan to start your operation. Or maybe if you did not qualify for this New York Forward Loan Fund program because you have not been in operation for a year, you can check out other CDFIs, other community development financial institutions around the state, which offers opportunity for access to capital for anything from $500 to $500,000. So you can check a list, put your address and look at the location closest to you and call them up and find out about programs that you may qualify for. Now, if you're also a business that you think, I wonder what other people are doing in my business about this issue, or how could I operate in a way that will make me more successful than if I were doing it the way I was thinking about doing it, or talk to another person about something you're thinking and toying with but not sure what to do, please connect with a business mentor in New York. which is a program that is free of service to you, where you can go and register your file, your profile, and basically be matched to a mentor that you may request. So it's a voluntary basis where both parties have to agree to participate. So check out businessmentor.ny.gov, where you can access the free business mentor in your field or in a subject area of expertise that you like additional support from. I'm sorry. So the last two resources are related to government support. So Empire State Development Small Business Division is where I work and sit. There are so many other small business resources that you may be interested in tapping into. So if you'd like to learn more about it, and also if you'd like to learn about other grant resources or other financial resources that other entities that are providing, the state has gathered and compiled a list of other resources that you may tap into if you're impacted by COVID. Please check out this website at esd.ny.gov/doing-business-ny/small-business-hub. I know that was a very long string, but luckily we have this slide for you to peruse. So please check out this webpage where you're going to find a plethora of resources for your business. And lastly, if you are a landlord, please, if you want to know other information, another program related to landlord businesses, please check out the New York State Homes and Community Renewal Program page, which you can find additional information about the New York Forward Loan Fund, as well as other services for landlords that the state offers. So I am going to hand over to Carol to talk about a little bit more about how to contact her and also what Pursuit offers beyond the New York Forward Loan Fund program.
Sure. Thanks so much. And thanks to Jen and Kathleen also for arranging this opportunity. Pursuit, we are here for small entrepreneurs throughout New York State, been around 65 years. I work in the community lending group, so for the smaller loans, but we also do all the SBA loan programs, including commercial real estate. So there are some opportunities we're finding. During COVID, there's a lot of challenges, but there's also a lot of business opportunities going on. So a very popular program right now is for a small business to perhaps acquire the commercial real estate that they're operating out of. So please reach out. My contact information is on the next slide. We are happy to serve the Mid-Hudson area. Use me as a resource for any and all financing needs. And also as a CDFI, we provide services and business advice as well. So a pitch to the SBDC is right out of Rockland County community. So that is right, that's right in your neighborhood there. So for Putnam County, that's a great resource. And the so the ESD Center, the Women's Entrepreneurial Center is out of Poughkeepsie. So you guys have great resources and we are here for you. Feel free to reach out.
Yep. So, sorry, just to repeat, please visit www.nyloanfund.com for the actual pre-application information about the program. If you have questions particular to the program itself, please email nyloanfund@esd.ny.gov. And lastly, if you'd like to work directly with Pursuit, Carol's email is here, is coconnell@pursuitlending.com. So thank you so much, Jennifer, for the opportunity to present this program. And we look forward to hearing from all the businesses in the region that may need the capital. I don't know if there are any other questions, Jennifer, that you see on the chat box?
Nope, there's no other questions. I do think that we will have some other questions and we'll send them directly out to you. And again, we're going to try to summarize this information so that it's easy for people to see and hopefully get some more funding into Putnam County. It's good for all of us. So Kathleen, are you still on?
I am, and thank you very much, ladies. Jen, for pulling this together on short notice, and Hui and Carol for all of this information. So will you be sending this PowerPoint to get something out there through Lisa Caslin, or what will be
Yes,
the next?
we have kind of morphed from like getting the big push to get everybody onto Zoom into Facebook Live, as well as the replay. We get close to like 1,000 hits that way. So we will get this out, and we're also going to try to summarize it a little bit in case people don't want to watch an entire webinar, and have the contact information. This slide, if you guys could just send me this slide, that would be great. And also with, or just with both your contact information. So I do also want to thank our premier principal sponsors. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do any of this, and we love being able to get information out to the business community. So we have Titan Concrete to thank, and also Tompkins Mayapack Bank, who is also one of the banks able to give SBA funding and whatnot. So we appreciate them so much. And I thank you, Carol, Kathleen, and Huey-Min. How'd I do?
Right.
Yeah.
Perfect. So we'll get that out. If you guys can get me that contact information so we can include that, and we will push this out very heavy to the Putnam County business community.
Excellent.
Right
Thank
on.
you. Thanks, everybody.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Have
Have
a great day.
everyone. Stay well, stay safe.
Thank you, Kathleen.
Got it.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.